This is a revision video on contact and non-contact forces. Just like the name suggests, contact forces have to be touching, non-contact forces do not have to be touching. So examples of contact forces are things such as friction, air resistance, other things like water resistance, drag, they also count, tension, which is basically a pulling force, and a normal contact force. Normal contact force. So an example of a normal contact force is if we put a box and it's resting on a slope, the normal contact force is at 90 degrees. There we go, 90 degrees. That's normal contact force. Normal contact force is always at 90 degrees. Examples of non-contact forces are things such as gravitational force, electrostatic force, and magnetic force. So they're the examples of contact and non-contact forces, and these are always in pairs. These are always in pairs, or they always interact in pairs. So for example, if I was to have a car that's moving along the road, the reason why it's moving along the road is because we've got friction, we also get air resistance. We also get air resistance that will slow the car down. But the overall thrust of the car, and you notice how I represent these forces with arrows. That's because force is a vector, it's got magnitude and direction. So for example, let's say we had 200 newtons of air resistance, 200 newtons air resistance backwards, and if I've got the arrows meant to be the same length, so I'd also have 200 newtons of thrust. These arrows representing friction, about half the size, so they'd have half the magnitude, 100 newtons each. So forces work in pairs, or they interact in pairs I should say. Forces are vectors, they've got magnitude and direction.